Okay, so we're going to continue on to example 3, and it says that the planet Mercury has an approximate mass of 3.3 times 10 to the 23rd power kilograms. Then Mars has a mass of about 6.4 times 10 to the 23rd kilograms. How many times as great as the mass of Mercury is the mass of Mars? So if we use this information, we're looking at some number times Mercury has to give me Mars. And I want you to think of it that way. So if I'm saying mass of Mercury, so Mercury times some number is going to have to give me Mars. Okay? In other words, if I were to solve for this number, to get this Mercury over here, we would have to divide by Mercury on both sides. So to solve this problem, we're going to look at the mass of Mars over the mass of Mercury. All right, so now let's take a look. And I have it kind of set up nicely for you because 6.4 over 3.3, those are my constants, and I'm going to divide those guys out. And the question says to round your coefficient to the nearest tenth. So when I divide these out, 6.4 over 3.3 is about 1.9 when you round it out. It gives you a decimal and you round to the nearest tenth, which is 1.9. Then when I go and I handle this guy, which is what we learned in last chapter, where we subtract our exponents, we get 10 to the 23rd, minus 10 to the 23rd. So we have 10 to the 23rd minus 23rd, which is equal to 10 to the 0. And we all know that 10 to the 0 is equal to 1 whole. So this means that the mass is 1.9 times 1. In other words, the mass of Mars is about 1.9 times the mass of Mercury. And that's your solution. Okay, let's take a look at example 4 now. So here's example 4. The sun's diameter is about 1.4 times 10 to the 6 kilometers. The moon's diameter is approximately 3.5 times 10 to the 3rd kilometers. How many times as great as the diameter of the moon is the sun? In other words, if I'm setting this up, the moon times some number has to give me the sun. So now how do I solve? I would have to divide both sides by the moon to get the number by itself. So in this case, the moon goes in the denominator. So here I have it set up for you with the numbers, and we're going to do the same process where these two numbers divided out are going to give me an approximation. When I divide these out, I'm actually going to get 1.4 over 3.5 is actually equal to 0.4. I believe that's an exact number. And then when we subtract these guys, we get 10 to the 6th over 10 to the 3rd is equal to 10 to the 3rd. So now I have to put them together. These two numbers are multiplied to each other. So we're left here with 0.4 times 10 to the 3rd. And if I want to write that as a number, I have to take my decimal and move it to the right 3 times. So I have 0.4 and I move it to the right 1, 2, 3, put a decimal, and add my zeros. In other words, this is equal to 400 times as great. In other words, the sun is 400 times as great in diameter as the moon. So that's your solution. Okay, at this time, please open the doc that's listed and answer some of the questions.